Hey there, everybody. We are here with Virtual Cat commentating here for SuperNinTaylor. We will be seeing Lalala here in a second, and I am going to be joined by Tiru. Tiru, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Virtual Cat.
So we are having a little bit of technical issues here on Lalala's side. We will just be watching SuperNinTaylor for the time being, and he gets 10 bombs here from Uncle. I'm going to try to save as many of those as possible to get the 3 chests in the back of Escape and be able to use some in Kakariko as well.
Well, at least with that 10 bomb opening, there's a pretty decent chance that by the time we do see COB eventually catch up, we'll know that he hasn't picked up anything that Super Nin hasn't. And the escape sequence here is pretty much just filling 6 minutes of time anyway, so if you're going to have technical difficulties, I think this is probably the best time to get them out of the way.
Yeah, from what we understand, Lalala's OBS has crashed a couple times. However, I think he is still progressing through the game. It's just we're not able to see it at the moment. And Taylor doing a good job of dodging those green guards, though.
It's a little bit of a shame, though. They did get an 8-bomb drop, having already gotten 10 bombs as their starting item. That's always the case with Randomizer. You get no bombs or you get way too many bombs. It was a nice first blue guard there. Only used 2 to get through the kill, the minimum you can do. Nice if he gets through all of Escape here with only using the minimum 6.
Yeah, that'll give him 4 bombs left. There's going to be 1 for the back of Escape. There's going to be 3 that he'll need in Kakariko Village proper. He'll probably buy some at that point if he hasn't picked up any extras, but I really like these bomb setups.
Yeah, that one was a little close, but it did turn out very nice. And at 600 rupees already, they pretty much not have any financial concerns for this seed. Yeah, downside with these bomb openings, though, is if you don't pick up another weapon, pretty soon it's really difficult to get through even the early game. Bombs do not damage the vast majority of bosses.
Yeah, not just bosses. It is even places like Mini Moldworm Cave can be tricky with those bombs because Mini Moldworms are very sort of random in their movements anyways.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you do see a lot of bomb strats in locations like Mini Moldworm Cave. If all you have it is like a burner opening and you're low on magic, and you got enough money, you can stack up on them. But in situations like this, they have a. Did they get a bomb capacity upgrade? No, they didn't. They're still at 10.
They're still at 10. Most of the items they've found has just been rupees at this point. I believe they got 2 300 rupees and 2 50s.
That is pretty insane. One nice thing about the bomb openings is if you actually do pick up a capacity upgrade in Link's house, you'll get that many extra bombs at the Uncle. Instead of 10, you'll get 15, which is pretty neat.
I did not know that. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, extremely situational. I mean, it's the only time it happens, but it's always nice.
It's like getting a sword from that first chest and then not being able to use it and thinking your ROM is broken.
Exactly, it's just like that. You're like, I'm hitting slash and nothing's happening until you talk to the Uncle, and then all of a sudden your sword starts to work. Like, what the heck?
And Taylor reaching the mantle there at 4:30. He's making really good time through this.
I love chat. Ball, that is great. COB needs the lamp. It does look like that, doesn't it?
COB has just somehow made his way to the dark room of Misery Mire. He is just really far ahead right now.
Exactly. Oh man, getting the fighter shield there in that chest, a little bit of disappointment. Fighter sword is the one that you want to get, not the fighter shield.
Oh no!
Nope, don't die here. That's 2 bombs wasted. Whew.
Okay, he's got it.
That was pretty close. Fortunately,
Let's see what we have here in the back.
a fairy.
It's almost like a slot machine there. One more heart, you want a bunch of rupee.
I was gonna say the same thing. This is like a slot machine. It's a heart rupee. And great minds.
Not necessarily great, just somewhat on the same level, as I'm assuming.
That's fair enough. I'll concede to that.
About a 619 escape here from Taylor, getting 10 arrows from the Sanctuary chest for his trouble. And he'll be on his way over to Kakariko and checking out what's up in the Dark or Lost Woods.
Yeah, we're we can assume that Cobb probably made it through escape. No progression items there. Even if he didn't manage to save enough bombs for the back of escape, we'll know if he's just on less health. But this could be some new divergences that we might not know immediately here. You know, if we see graveyard, not graveyard. What's the freaking lumberjack ledge from one player and not the other, then that could be knowledge that we don't know about.
Mushroom Spot is just a piece of heart. We'll see what's here in the Thieves' Hideout. And it is the bow. Very early bow. Hopefully Eastern will be a crystal for them, or at least the green pendant, because they can clear that right now. The lamp is technically needed to clear that, but they can make their way through.
Very nice item, and having picked 10 hours up already, SuperNin can already immediately switch to that and make that his weapon and save a few of those bombs. So I really, really like getting the bow early on. It can be in so many places due to how few locations it blocks. I completely agree with you, Virtua Cat. Sequence breaking Eastern dark rooms is not that big of a challenge in the bracket phase, and being able to clear Eastern in one trip, that's a pretty appealing option, crystal or pendant.
Yeah, the only one that can really give trouble is that back room with the Igor. Never mind, there is the lamp.
Yep, so that problem solved. I think pendant or crystal Eastern at this point is a pretty good play, and 10 arrows in the chest is actually not a bad item to find.
No, we'll probably see them head over to the dam and the mini Moldorm cave, and you only got bombs and arrows. You want as many of those usable items as possible. And we may have a little bit of image here from COB Lalala.
It looked like he was fading in slowly. Wow, what sync?
And there are the boots in the well.
Very, very nice early to get item to get early to be able to check the lumberjack, not the lumberjack, the library immediately. Wow, this is, you know what, first game of the day. I'm making all these naming mistakes. Sorry.
And Taylor is going to go ahead and checking Bonk Rocks while he's here for doing anything else in Kakariko.
Well, NinTaylor didn't do the lumberjack check either. So a lot of times, you know, if you're gonna postpone that until you get boots, you'll route that in with your Bonk Rocks check, and it doesn't look like he's heading up there. Cobb may or may not have checked that initially. Do not know.
Looks like Bush Crab is just giving little pieces of heart today. It looks like another piece of heart in the lumberjack cave.
Yeah, and we did see in the menu transition there from Cobb that he does have the bow as well. So he went north to pick that up, and he's got all the money from escape. So I don't think he's got bombs. So I doubt he left anything behind. They probably are both basically in sync at this point.
So both of these racers, this is their game one between each other. And, silvers.
Silver's on the race game. That's nice. That's worth going back for, I would say, especially with the bow.
With the bow at 11 minutes, absolutely.
Cobb wisely choosing to save one of his 6 bombs there and bonk that wall open. It's always a smart play.
Both of these races were 5 and 2 in the Swiss stages.
I do really like when racers with even skill get paired up. We had a couple of 4-3s progress based on the strength of their games, and seeing them go, paired against the automatic placers from the previous tournaments. It's always like I like the 5-2s, the 6-0s, 7-0s going together. It seems a little bit fair. Neither player gambling on the race game. Both having to do the backtrack.
I mean, with boots, it's not that bad. I generally gamble on the race game if I didn't get a lot of items in Kakariko, but with boots, never gamble. Getting the shovel. So we've seen both of our fetch quest items here. Mushroom at Bonk Rocks and shovel in the dam.
Yeah, Cobb still has to go pick up that mushroom at the Bonk Rocks, but we're definitely finding early fetch quest progression. I guess Powder has to be next if we're going to stay on this fetch quest theme. Powder in a bottle in Mini Muldurum Cave. I call it here, and so I can be wrong right away.
Interesting note that we still haven't found. Oh, and there's a map check, and it looks like green pendant, desert, blue pendant at Eastern. And if we don't want to see that, but a regular blue crystal up at Hera.
Yeah, pendant Eastern's a little bit disappointing, having picked up the silver arrows and the lamp, and having that entire dungeon in logic. But there's the items on Sasharala, so I can imagine that you're gonna go in there anyway.
It's not even a green pendant; it's the blue pendant, which is gross.
Yeah, if you get all 3 items early, you might just nope out of the dungeon at that point. Like that could make sense. This is
and
interesting.
there's our gloves.
Yeah, this is an interesting route from SuperNin. Turning the mushroom in early, and I imagine checking Zora as well while he's up here. Oh no, it doesn't have the gloves. Can't get up this way. So that was actually a kind of a long walk, going to the mushroom from Sanctuary. That's a fairly big time commitment this early on in the game.
Yeah, I'm not sure I necessarily agree with that, but Cobb is doing Ice Fraud Cave here. We'd not be shocked to see him fake Flipper, but there's also a lot of other places he could go to at this point.
Yeah, without the Moon Pearl, it's a little bit less tempting to do the fake Flipper. I do like doing water walks with the boots. That's always a lot of fun. Super Nin, not even checking any of those southern places, just making the play into Eastern.
And there's our first bottle filled with a second bottle as well. We got blue and red potions.
Wow, 2 bottles at the same time. Cobb's going to pick up his mushroom here, and we'll see if he's going to do a graveyard ledge or if he did that earlier. And he is heading up there, so I guess he also skipped it initially. So the gloves being the big find so far down in the South Shore.
Yeah, still interesting to note. Like, that is the only item for our 3, our sort of like triumvirate of Dark World items that we want. We want to see either 2 sets of gloves or a set of gloves and a hammer, and then we need the Moon Pearl be able to get access to the Dark World. If some of those are actually in the Dark World, we may not be able to get there without doing Aghanim.
Well, we have our second mid upgrade. We've in Eastern Palace, so that will be mitts when either of them goes to the other location, and that puts them only a moon pearl away from Dark World, regardless of. Sorry, that probably is going to roll out Aga most likely at this point, unless they need to do Aga to get that moon pearl.
Yeah, the only places that moon pearl can be now that would require Aghanim is, I believe, either on the pyramid or in Checkerboard Cave if the flute is on the pyramid.
Yeah. Additionally, you could have the flute or the hammer or something in Pyramid Fairy that's hammer locked that you need to get there for. So you have to wait until you see the hammer show up somewhere. But that is an extremely rare scenario. Given the fact that you need a sword and a cape or two swords to get in there, I think most likely we'll probably see the moon pearl show up first. It definitely seems to be Kakariko as our Dark World access in this seed.
I'm going to say that the moon pearl is going to be in King's Tomb, with us already having access to both mitts and Pegasus boots. I think it's going to be right there.
I like that call. We get the mitts in Eastern. Make that Eastern pendant dip pay off in double the value by giving us access to the King's Tomb. Very nice.
It's funny, they both have the first gray set of gloves, but they got them from two different places. Places that, especially down south in the mini Moldorm Cave, places where you normally go pretty early.
A little bit odd seeing, you do the Eastern first route, but in the end, it doesn't really make too much of a difference when you're full clearing things. There's nothing that SuperNin could have picked up that would have made Eastern, much easier other than health, and you don't really need too much health in this dungeon. This is your first dungeon after all.
Oh, and there is the moon pearl right there.
Wow, Eastern paying off with gloves and moon pearl. Still one item left on Armos Knights, and it's just the compass, so he's done in here.
That Eastern dip pays off like crazy.
Yeah, and the game wasn't really trying to keep that a secret either. It gave you silver arrows, the bow, and the lamp, and the glove on Zora.
And a big 500 rupee fighter sword there off of Sora. And we are going to be on our way down south for SuperNinTaylor, and COB Lalala is probably going to make his way over to Eastern as well.
Yeah, this is extremely nice. I think COB might have a routing advantage at the moment. It's more. I mean, COB's going to pick up the gloves here and the moon pearl in Eastern, no doubt about it. With Dark World access coming up for SuperNin, he may put off Zora for quite a while and go without a sword. There's three other ones, so he's going to pick up a sword somewhere, but that's Zora's sword advantage. Might be nice for COB.
So they have both already checked both the shovel and the mushroom. We're not going to be seeing any fake dust here today if they find that red cane anytime soon. But NinTaylor is using arrow strats here in Mini Moldorm Cave, and COB Lalala is heading into Eastern at the moment.
Silver arrows on Mini Moldorms, that is massive overkill. And that's official Dark World access for SuperNin now. Let's see. So this actually might be good. He's not setting up a water buffer there coming out of that Mini Moldorm Cave, heading over to Ice Rod Cave, but now that he has the Moon Pearl, he might be a little bit more inclined to do a fake flipper, and if he does, that's going to get him his sword.
Yeah, I think it's really smart. Check Hobo as well. We'll get that sword from up at Zora, and then 2 items over in the pyramid, or not pyramid, the fairy waterfall. It could be something big there. It could be a hook shot. It could be a hammer. It could be a flute.
Yeah, it's if you can pick up a hammer through a sequence break up there, that's really, really valuable, because if Dark World is your only, if Kakariko is your only Dark World access, it can make routing really slow for a long time. But he did set up a stored water buffer there, and he's going to use it immediately. So he's not going to try to buffer the ledge item. He's just going to do Hobo and the fairy caves. This is my favorite thing to do. I love watching this.
It's super entertaining to watch. I still need to figure out the actual steps to do it. I am not that great with it.
Yeah, so but basically when you're coming out of a cave, Ice Rod Cave or Mini Moldorm Cave, you simply walk slightly off to the side. So when you hit the doorway, it moves you into the doorway. And then you can jump down into the water, and you'll land on your feet.
See that he did not fake Flipper back out of Hobo. Let's go check King's Tomb here.
And just RPs and consume. Saving and quitting from Hobo, that's also a fairly common strategy there. You don't want to swim all the way down, and just getting the Hobo with the boots it's a little bit of swag, and it's also a nice way to get to an out of the way location.
Oh, Cobb, don't finish this up unless you need to. Oh, he's checking, and there he goes.
Yeah, it's always possible that you might want to get the pendant if you think it's going to take you too long to get back here later. But this early in the game, I think gambling on the pendant is probably a waste of time, and a good choice for both runners to opt out of there.
Plus, it's Eastern. It's not necessarily the longest dungeon in the game. I mean, with silvers, that boss will last 5-10 seconds max.
Exactly. Getting back there is a little bit annoying, but with Eastern, the boots make it much, much easier. It's all straight hallways.
And our pendant in the Dark World is going to be Ice Palace. Everything else is going to be a crystal there. I think I saw Swamp and Mire as red crystals, but I'm not 100% sure.
So that essentially means that our hammer is going to be in Pendant Ice Palace.
There's Blue Mail for SuperNinTaylor, making that outline sprite a little bit harder to see, honestly.
Oh yeah, the negative length sprite, it really messes with the color palette in different various boss fights, dungeons. Ice Rod there in C-shaped house. Turtle Rock being a crystal, that's an item that you definitely want to get out of the way early. That can be anywhere in the game but Trinex or Ganon's Tower with a TR crystal.
That's probably around, what, 170 different locations that can possibly be?
I don't know if I'd say more than 200. It's up there.
We're going digging down here on SuperNinTaylor while Lalala is going underground up into Skull Woods.
So this really makes a lot of sense for Super Nin. I think given how easy it is to get into the Dark World at the Thieves Town location, you really don't want to go in there without the hammer until you've checked some of these overworld spots, just in case you end up having a progression item. And
there is the hammer.
Yeah, it paid off for Super Nin. He's going to be able to go in and full clear Thieves Town now and not even risk leaving anything behind. He also didn't have anything he could actually hurt blind with until that hammer, because he has yet to get the sword. Dirty Hammer was a lot of value. Looks like he's not going to head up there immediately, though. We're going to see Stumpy. Unfortunately, without the mirror, we can't do K45, and it's always inconvenient to route that back in later on. But we will get Hype Cave coming up soon.
Oh, and Cobb taking a unfortunate Wallmaster. Also trying to deal with those Gibdos with the Fighter Sword. I can't think of much worse things in the game.
Yeah, he's got the bow equipped at the moment, and 1 silver will kill those guys. So it'd be a lot easier on them just to blow them away.
Well, we are on our way to Hype Cave here. Everybody get your guesses in. What do you think we're going to see here? It's going to be Hype Cave or Tribe Cave.
I think we'll see some hype.
Well, there's the mirror. So.
That's a nice start there, and maybe a sword in here would be nice.
And Bombos. That could be important. That could not. We'll have to wait and see.
Getting that mirror, that's really nice. He's not going to double back and do the K45 check immediately. See, this will be interesting. Is this going to be a pyramid check and catfish, or is he going to dive into Palace of Darkness?
Well, he's got the frog with him.
Yeah, but Kiki will eat the frog.
Oh.
And that's not a problem. Kiki's a monster. With the mirror, he'll be able to very easily pick up the frog next time and turn that in, and then get the purple chest. So losing the frog at this point would not be a big deal, and it's a long walk back here from Kakariko. I would go into Pond. It's a crystal that he can full clear. This catfish check could still be good for him, though. If he does Zora afterwards, that will be a sword for him. The mirror, it's really nice to get the mirror as an early item. It makes your routing so much easier. You want to get it early or never. If you get the mirror late game and it opens up all of these one-off locations for you to check, and you're just looking for one go mode item, it basically can turn a close game into just random chance whoever finds the progression.
Yeah, they got a lot of different places they can go right now. They can head into Pod. They can head into Thieves Town. They can go up to Death Mountain when they get that mirror. They can do Tower of Hera. They'll be able to head over to the east side of Death Mountain as well with that hammer afterwards. It's wide open right now. We might see a lot of divergence here soon.
Yeah, that's a good point. Having that sword now, I think the Death Mountain play does look very nice. You got so many options. You can full clear Palace of Darkness, full clear Thieves Town. There's just so much open to them. I think this will be a shovel check over here from SuperNin. Well, Cobb picks up his hammer.
He almost lost it there, jumping into the trees with the hammer after the thinking it out.
Oh, okay, this is interesting. SuperNin saying, I'm going to route the shovel in with a K45 check on my way back up to Kakariko. We got Thieves Town play over here. I like this.
We have 4 possible items here in Thieves Town, and this is a crystal. We get a map in our first chest. There are going to be 3 more chests here in the starting area. One of which has to be the big key, so we may see 2 items immediately here.
This is a very easy dungeon to clear. With the fighter sword, Fighter Sword, Butter Sword doesn't make any difference on the boss. It does the same amount of damage. If the only risk with this dungeon is coming in here without the hammer and potentially orphaning an item in the big chest, but neither runner has that worry today.
We get our South of Grove check here as we get our third chest here in Thieves Town.
Yeah, so no item there, but important not to leave too many orphaned locations out of the way. You don't want to have to check all of these one-off spots late in the game. Early mirror, SuperNin is putting it to good use.
So we only got one item in the front of Thieves Town. We still got a big chest, we still got the maiden chest, we got Blind himself, and we got the top floor chest. We'll see where those items are.
Yeah, I will say that SuperNin has been carrying that frog around for quite a while and has been focusing on a lot of these one-off locations. I mean, hitting all the way up to Catfish, his Zord check. I think COB probably routed them in a little bit more efficiently. So SuperNin is going to be a little bit behind, I think, when he gets into Thieves Town. Unless we find something nice here.
You know that blacksmith has to be upset with him. He was literally only maybe like a 2-minute walk from being saved. Then he was forced back into being a frog again. It's a shame, and he rewards him with only 20 rupees.
Yeah, I don't know if he has any right to complain. I mean, he was just locked up behind a rock in the Dark World, so better late than never.
And NinTaylor is going to be making the same play that COB is right now, going into Thieves Town. We haven't really found anything of note here yet.
Yeah, just rupees up in the attic. We'll see another item on the maiden chest. If it's the key, then we'll have to go to the big chest. Otherwise, the key will be locked in the big chest, and our last item will be on blind. It's really nice to have the powder when you do Thieves Town, because there's a couple bunny beams under various pots, but even without it, there's a couple hearts under those pots there, and COB did top his health off. We do not get a small key, so the small key is locked in the big chest. Last diamond is on blind, and we'll be getting our first crystal very shortly. That was a nice first phase. Sword's been there. Second phase, very clean as well. Four hearts, blue mail. You can take a hit or two. You're down to 2 hearts, 1 heart. Oh, that's too many hits.
And he had potions too, which is the shameful part of it.
Yeah, he had a red and a blue potion. That's unfortunate. Blind is not going to be in the... You don't get that same nice scripted positioning coming back in here. Might want to have that potion ready to go just in case.
COB is going to make his way right back there. We'll see how this second round goes.
That's pretty good. He's almost back into normal position at this point. Four hearts, dodging, nice dodge in there. Fire shield would really make this a bit easier, but that's the third hit, 2 hearts to go. Whew, that's close. And well compensated with a big 20.
More importantly, he gets that crystal. He is 1/7 of the way to Ganis Tower.
Super Nin. Come on. Doesn't have a key. I think that's muscle memory right there.
Looks like Cobb is going to go ahead and get the bullfrog out of the way here.
Super clean blind fight here. That's perfect.
Yeah, that was impressive by SuperNinTaylor.
So Superman, where do you go now? Do you dip into Skullwoods without the fire rod? You're only going to be able to do the first couple chests. You got the mirror, so maybe do Graveyard Ledge. Where are you headed?
He is heading up into Skull Woods. I think Graveyard Ledge is a good call here too. That is one of those locations where it's just a pain to get to and a pain to go. It's not necessarily hard to get to. It's out of the way for one location. It's the Aegina's Cave of the Dark World.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I like that. Aegina's Cave of the Dark World. This route could be nice for Superman. If he does Graveyard Ledge and then checks Bumper Ledge, not going to be able to get the item, but that's information, and that's a perfect place to mirror and go up to Death Mountain.
Kabbalah is not going to bother going up and checking Pyramid or Catfish. He is just going to go back out here at Sanctuary and take the frog home.
Well, we've seen both of those locations, so we know that's the right move to make. Not going to find any value up there. And there's so many more item-dense locations to go. I like putting those off for now. You can always get them coming out of pod later on if you really, really want to. Or maybe if you've already cleared Swamp Woods and Misery Mire by that time, then you'll be able to do Pyramid Fairy. So I'm going to disagree with Twitch chat here on the ranking system of Hype Cave. A fairly early mirror, I think, is incredibly useful, in addition to being required for Swamp Palace. So I'm going to say the mirror by itself is an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I think anytime. Oh, and NinTaylor hovering across.
Doing the map hover, but still very nice. I like what Cobb's doing here, having picked up the mirror, turned in that blacksmith immediately, and is walking the purple chest down to turn that in, and it's going to be able to get K45 checked on the way. It's a nice way to get both of these done. Neither is great. You can't really route it in with too many locations, but if you got to do them, this is probably a good way to do it. So other than, we haven't seen too much progression in these overworld spots. I mean, not the one-offs. Got the gloves in Mini Mortar, and that was nice early value. But so far, Eastern Palace, paid off a lot more than all these one-off spots did.
And just bombs in that purple chest, so nothing really of note there. Then Taylor is going to check Bumper Cave here. It's just a piece of heart, and yep, he's going to mirror and go up to Dark World or Death Mountain.
This is a nice play. You're able to do Tower of Hera, and then, like you said, just come right out of there to Light and Dark Death Mountain. There's 24 items up here. And Cobb, I think, is making the Palace of Darkness play. This is our first really big divergence. One going into a dungeon, two different dungeons, Hera and Pod. These are both locations that the others are going to do, most likely, unless they're in go mode when they get here. But early progression could give you a time advantage if you find something like flute or more swords. That'll save you a bit of time.
Yeah, I like Taylor's play a little bit better. He is able to access all of Death Mountain at this point. Aside from Hookshot Cave, he'll be able to get that first chest, but hopefully he'll be able to find a hookshot up here.
I actually like Cobb's play a little better for that exact same reason. He's got everything he needs to make this his last trip to the region, pick up the crystal, and if he gets the hookshot or the book here, then he can do one more additional thing up in Death Mountain.
Well, there's a reason why these guys are in the brackets and not me, so... But I know enough to know that Taylor does not want to see that small key right there.
No, but Cobb does want to see the small key in the first chest of Palace of Darkness. It's not going to be bow locked. They have the bow, but it's always nice to know whether it would have been bow locked. So apparently SuperNin has some problem with pots because he's vandalizing the heck out of this basement.
He's just trying to find as many ways to kill these tiles as possible. Oh, and there is the flute in the basement of Pod. That is big for Lalala.
Lalala. Yeah, so that's 2 items in Pod so far: the fire shield and the flute. That's what we were talking about. Is one person finds a nice mobility item like the flute, and if they have it longer than the other person does, it really can make a difference. I would not be surprised at all if Cobb decides to check the Mire region after this. Activate the flute and then head into Mire.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Get some knowledge on what medallion is required as well.
Nice bomb jump there from SuperNin. That's a little bit tricky to set up. Has the boots, but didn't even bother using the boots to increase his margin of error. Just said, I'm going to pull it off. I know what I'm doing.
I was trying to do the bumper dash, but decided better of it. That's a scary dash to do.
Yeah, that's the type of thing that I'll do if I'm playing by myself, but if I'm in a race or someone's watching, then I don't. Because I fall like half the time.
And 3 hammer hits, and Moldorm is down for SuperNinTaylor.
A very clean Moldorm fight, just rewarded with a heart piece. But that second crystal is not too bad. Gives him a crystal advantage for the moment over Cobb.
If he does go down to the mire, they can do desert too. Desert's a green pendant, so 2 items in desert and then 1 from Sahasrahmanah.
Yeah, that's an interesting gamble there going into desert. I think if you do flute over to mire, you check the mire shed, you check the desert ledge item that's just sitting out there. Probably do checkerboard cave and then a Genus cave, but at that point, given how easily you can get back to desert with the flute, I think you probably don't get into the dungeon with so much value up here on Death Mountain. But we'll see. That's just that's my guess. It's not good or bad. That's just I'm gonna make a guess because I have to pick something.
Get our look at here what Turtle Rock requires, and it is Ether. We'll be looking for Ether today.
All right, so that's 1 additional medallion at a minimum that we still need to pick up. That Bombos might not get any use other than opening up Ice Palace. And wouldn't that be a shame?
Yeah, if that Fire Rod is in Ice Palace, that'd be funny.
Yeah, one thing about this game that you can generally feel confident about is if you gamble a pendant Ice Palace play with Bombos as your entry, and it pays off big, you probably got an advantage in that particular race.
Oh, and SuperNinTaylor can't really check the rest of this area. Or actually, he can.
He's going to try for it. He's going to try it. How many map checks will we get? So that first chest is in logic with the boots. These last 3 are most definitely not. 2 tries, giving it up. That was a good attempt.
We're going to take our look at Spiral Cave here as Kabbalah makes his way over to Helmasaur King. And 17 hits here from Kabbalah on the Mask of Helmasaur with the hammer.
Yeah, not choosing to use the sword strats to keep himself aligned with the mask. It's a little bit slower, but it's a lot easier. Right? He's got the skills, so he's no problem slinging off.
Oh, and there's that Ether.
There finds our Ether. Nice. So fortunately for Super Nin, without the Kinosamaria, he's not able to actually enter Turtle Rock. So no desire for him to go there at the moment. It's kind of nice if you can find those items elsewhere. I mean, you might want to go in there and hope that you find the Fire Rod in that dungeon, but it's really nice just to be able to go in there with everything you need.
Yeah, it's possible that Fire Rod can be in Turtle Rock. They can be anywhere up to and including Laser Bridge if the key layout works out.
Yeah, I think Cobb's doing some of these overworld checks here, at least Pyramid, and I would be surprised if he doesn't do Catfish after this, given that he's already committed to getting halfway there. I'm still saying Misery Mire area check after this, though.
Yeah, he's still gonna go activate that flute.
Yeah, save and quit from Catfish, and then a a flute activation. But Super Nin heading over to Pod, not wasting any time, is going to be able to pick up his flute, and not going to be at any disadvantage for not having that. And we know there's no love from the catfish today. It's just that big 20. I don't know what Cobb thinks he's doing. Very much wanted the route that Waterfall Fairy check-in, but it's going to have to activate that flute first and fake flipper from 8 if he's going to want to get it before it has the flippers.
I mean, with 2 items, I would do Meyer, and then I would consider it. I mean, if you don't find the flippers, there might be something good there. You don't know.
Well, I think with all of the in-logic items up on Death Mountain, Cobb's probably going to head up there first. We know that there's no more progression lying up there unless he wants to dip into Turtle Rock. So let's see what we find in Misery Mire.
Yeah, it's really hard when you're watching one of these races to really think about what's going through the racers' heads, because if you have info that they don't, you're like, oh, well, we know that there's nothing up at Death Mountain. Why don't you just go and do these 2 items? Yeah, well, the racer doesn't know that.
Yeah, it's definitely an extra thing to keep track of. That's why I'm incredibly grateful that we have trackers to keep the items in line for us. So thank you, Raspberry Floof, for doing our tracking so we can focus on other things. But I know what you're saying with the fake flippers, though. He probably thought he had the flippers and was going to route everything efficiently, and while he was up there, didn't have it. I don't think at this point Cobb is going to be in the frame of mind to sequence break a couple items when there's in sequence, 24 in sequence items waiting for him. But if he wants to make a gamble, that is a decent number of out of sequence items.
Well, once again, we find another upgrade item in 2 different locations. Cobb getting a second sword upgrade off the desert ledge while picking up the blue cane and the mire shed. So when Cobb does go up to Death Mountain, he can check out Spike Cave as well.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And there's the red cane.
Wow. Dipping in the desert, absolutely paying off today. Also a Boots Lock desert that shows us. But Cobb not happy with finding a sword and a red cane in the desert area so far. He's going to find at least that second item.
2 canes. I thought this was not May 19th. This is June, but we are on our way.
Yeah, this is really nice. He's going to be able, if he wants to immediately go into Misery Mire. Well, he doesn't have either. I just noticed the medallion. So thanks again to Raspberry Foot for marking that. It's going to be really nice when Super Nin heads over here. I expect Super Nin's probably, having already been to Death Mountain, will activate that flute and make the same checks. Might not go into desert, though, and get that red cane. That could be bad. Hopefully he doesn't make the mistake that I was going to make.
And Fire Rod in desert. This is a very profitable desert for Lalala.
Yeah, that's both of the desert items, and he feels that's enough at this point, because he's not going to go up and actually get the green pendant. I do not blame him at all. He doesn't know that's Turtle Rock access, but that's Turtle Rock access. So once he wow, he can do Skull Woods now. He can knock out Hera and Turtle Rock and Mire. Everything just needs the hook shot left. And the flippers for Swamp. I think if you're Cobb though, and you have Mire and Turtle Rock and Skull Woods and Hera, you just expect you're gonna you have a reasonably fair chance of finding the hookshot or the flippers in one of those crystal dungeons. So you just go ahead and you get those 4 crystals.
The big Cobb is on his way up to Death Mountain. Going to be able to check out a couple extra locations here with having both hammer and some form of invisibility with the Cane of Burna. He'll be able to check out Spy Cave, and he'll be able to even go ahead and just do Turtle Rock.
Yeah, as Chat points out, I was going through Cobb's thinking about Mire and Turtle Rock. He doesn't have Ether yet, but I was predicting that his next place is going to be the item density up here on Hera and Death Mountain, and then he would get Ether and then proceed into Turtle Rock, Mire, and then Skullwood. That was kind of what I meant to say. But that's a 3rd crystal for Super Nin, done in Palace of Darkness, and it's going to activate his flute. Let's see if he makes the Desert Palace gamble as well and picks up that all the riches in there. We've seen so much value from the pendant dungeons that Samaria, Fire Rod, and in Desert, Eastern had the mitts. Something else was in Eastern too.
Moon Pearl.
Moon Pearl, that's right.
Yeah, will that hold true for Ice Palace? Are we going to find a hook shot? And gosh, well, we can't find flippers there. Hook shot and flippers are the only things we really require for Go mode at this point.
Well, I think if you're a Super Nin and then soon to be Cobb once he picks up Ether, I think you've probably full clear Mire and Turtle Rock. The time it takes to make 1 additional mountain climb is worth it to avoid Ice Palace altogether.
Oh, absolutely.
Super Nin, I think, is going to pick up the purple chest. This is one thing that he still has left to do. Easy enough to route in now with the flute. Some tricky menuing there. Super Nin's getting in the right area. Worst thing for him would be if he sees that Mire's Ether and says, I'm going to jump in there right away. And maybe try to look for the cane in Mire.
I'd imagine he'd probably grab that tempered sword that he just saw first, but man, he really needs to make his way into Desert. That is kind of where the value lies at this point.
Yes, Super Nin will pick up his tempered sword on the ledge. Cobb's going to pick up his tempered sword in Hookshot Cave, assuming he remembers that one chest is in logic with the boots. Both of them should get their swords fairly close together. Cobb's doing the a little bit easier bomb jump there with the boots. Give me that bonk. It gives you 6 pixel margin of error instead of 2 when it comes to your bomb placement. Moldorm is not cooperating so far. Ooh,
Oh,
that's
no.
a hit. That's a fall. Manages to avoid the double floor fall though, so that's at least something. So Super Nin, is this just a ledge check, or are we dipping into desert here? Hopefully we are dipping into desert.
And we are.
Yeah, but do we get the 1 item and bail, or we keep going? Ooh, so tempting to bail when you find the cane. Death to Moldorm. Crystal number 4 for Cobb. Super Nin, what are you doing there, bonking into everything but the torch?
Looks like he's going to continue on this route here. Probably be picking up the fire rod here in just a second or so.
Yeah, absolutely paying off. Maybe we'll see some different choices here on the green pendant. You know, we found 2 items in a dungeon. You know, maybe we'll say, okay, I'm just gonna get all 3 great items that this dungeon has to give me.
Much like Pedestal, we all really like to see what that green pendant holds every time.
Cobb is thinking about it. All right, yeah, going in to get the first item here. Didn't seem like he was sure he could do this. But well compensated.
And there's the fire rod for SuperNinTaylor. See what he does from here. And he's just going to go over into the Myers area. Probably just clear out Misery Mire at this point.
Yeah, no love for the green pendant today. I could just imagine all these pendant bosses. You know, they're in the back of their lairs. You know, they're like, I put all these great items in my dungeon. You know, to tempt you guys to come here so we could have our epic showdown. And then people just like, I'm gonna get my items and bail. Poor Armos Lambo sitting back there, nothing to do.
I mean, aside from Liv.
Yeah, that's not why they're here. They're here to, you know, destroy the hero of Hyrule. You know, they're just survival isn't enough for those guys. What are they, like, periodic meetings? Like all 10 in the Lambos, Moldorm, and Armos Knights, all 10 of them get together. And they're like, you know, how are we going to fight Link this time?
So one of the small little design decisions I really like about this game is that the bosses of all 3 Light World dungeons are all just like larger versions of enemies you faced in Zelda 1. And then when you get to the Dark World and you face those bosses, they're all brand new things.
The game design in here is just amazing. If it wasn't, it wouldn't have been able to persist almost 30 years. But I like watching the credits of this game, and you see, they list all the original developers, and then they list all the ALTTP Randomizer developers. At this point, it feels like the original developers are just kind of like an afterthought, because this game has been changed so much by what everyone's done since then.
Finding the magic cape in Misery Mire, not going to get much use out of that for any kind of progression in this race, but that can still come in handy in a lot of fights. I still see a lot of players take advantage of that during Ganon's fight.
Yeah, we saw the bumper ledge item, so we know we're not going to need to pick that up.
And there's our other Mire item.
Oh, that's a pretty efficient Mire route. And they're at a point now where this is a very healthy seed. 13 hearts and the blue mail, 13 and 12 hearts respectively. So this is very comfortable.
And COB is in Total Rock at the moment. He gets a big key from the laser room chest, and we'll be going into the 4 chest or 4 torch room to get those 2 chests here in just a second. No hook shots, so remember to take the long way around.
Yeah, so I think SuperNin, having got both items here already in this dungeon, just needs to get the crystal. Oh
no!
I don't know if there's enough time here. He could. Oh! That is a disappointment.
You can almost hear the sigh.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've ever actually seen that happen, so I feel like double bad for COB. Yeah, that's sad. But I was predicting. So where do we think SuperNin is going to head next after here? I'm going to guess Skullwoods to get that last item in the crystal there.
I think Skullwoods is a good play.
There's a 5-arrow upgrade in Turtle Rock. That's one item that's not a hookshot or flippers. Ideally, in this particular seed, with hookshot and flippers being the only items remaining, you would find the hookshot first, and then flippers would be your go mode item. That'll keep you out of having to even risk a double dip Swamp Palace. And you would never have to go on the ice. That would be the dream. Yeah. Hookshot and Turtle Rock, flippers and hookshot cave.
Yeah, those are the only 2 items that we're really looking for. Unfortunately, if it was Pendant Swamp instead of Pendant Ice Palace, we could fake flipper the Ice Palace, but Swamp actually requires flippers.
Yeah, if this was a hookshot-less seed, I wonder if SuperNin would attempt to make some GT hovers instead of search for the hookshot. We have seen races like that where the hookshot has been essentially optional for people lucky enough to be able to pull that off, and massive differences in those types of games.
SuperNinTaylor giving us a great chance to listen to some of the best music in the game, and a game with a lot of great music. But that Skullwoods theme is just absolutely killer. And there's the flippers in Turtle Rock, in the Vanilla Big Key location.
Yeah, that's not great.
So if you don't find the hookshot here, like, we know that the other 2 dungeons that it could possibly be in, if it's not in an overworld location, it's going to be Ice Palace or Swamp. Where do you go?
I think you probably would check the Zora's Domain locations. COB hasn't done any of them. SuperNin's done just a hobo. But yeah, I don't know. One thing we can rule out, the Pyramid Fairy as having our item, since Swamp is our other 5/6 crystal, so that's one location that we're not going to see this game. If you're going to go to Ice Palace, I think it's a really, really fast check just to take that Whirlpool over and check the Waterfall Fairy. It's right there, and if that has your hookshot, then you don't even have to go into Ice.
And Taylor, meanwhile, finishes up Mothula, and he is on his way up to Turtle Rock.
Yeah, COB picked up a really nice half magic in Mimic Cave. That's gonna make the rest of this game much easier. You can definitely do it without half magic, but it is a nice to have. And Super Nin, you gonna have the Spike Cave check, or are you heading over to Turtle Rock? Not Spike Cave. And there's our map. So we have one key on Laser Bridge. I don't know if we got the compos yet. There's at least 2 items left here in the dungeon.
Yeah, there's still the possibility that we find something like the book or magic powder that would give us access to something else.
Book would not be bad. You could do the Ether Tablet and Spike Cave at the same time. So there's kind of 2 things you can do over in that area. It makes it a little bit easier to justify heading back there. Yeah, very close at this point. Super Nin heading into Turtle Rock will be picking up the flippers. Super Nin has Skull Woods and Misery Mire cleared. COB is basically a Turtle Rock ahead at this point. It's fairly close.
So there's one more Laser Bridge items is bombs. There's the small key.
And
there is a big heart.
So there's
and
a
hook shot. That is go mode.
Oh wow.
That is fortuitous for our racers.
That is absolutely perfect. Finding the flippers opened up a lot of potential spots, but finding the hook shot. Oh, Super Nin went the wrong way. Gonna have to backtrack here. This torch room has not been good for either runner.
So here in a few minutes, when SuperNinTaylor reaches Laser Bridge, he'll be in go mode as well. He will just have to do Swamp Palace at that point. COB Lalala still has Mire to do and Skullwoods to finish up.
Yeah, both of those are really quick though. Just can run right to Mothula and Misery Mire. We saw that the big key was fairly early in the dungeon. So I mean, it's tough to say, but I think they're probably within a minute of each other entering Ganon's Tower. They're both going to have to climb the mountain again, either way, needing to leave here for the their respective dungeons. I don't know, Chad. I wouldn't say that Nin is significantly ahead. That they both have to leave the mountain. Cobb's leaving now, and both Mire and Swamp are really fast to get to. Nin still has to finish. Turtle Rock here, so it's pretty close. If he has an advantage, it might be like a minute. COB opting to do Swamp first. With the flute, the order that you do these dungeons really doesn't matter at all. None of them route into each other.
No, this go mode Swamp is going to be so fast. Doing a full clear Swamp takes forever, it feels like. Doing a go mode Swamp feels like the shortest dungeon in the game, because it probably is.
Yeah, there's nothing that he really needs at this point. So I would expect him to skip any chest that isn't immediately in his path from here on out to the rest of the game. I don't remember exactly where the Misery Mire chest was, but it was pretty fast. So chat saying it was on the bridge, so that's basically God Mire. Super Nin did find both items without having to go to the big chest or the big chest key spots. That's going to be a super fast mire. This is definitely like I said. I don't know who's going to enter GT first. I like this strat that Super Nin's doing. I admit that I really didn't see this, before the last couple of weeks, but it seems like everyone does it now. You check that big chest first before doing Mimic Cave, if you're only looking for one item.
Yeah, it just saves you. Doesn't save you a ton of time, but it does save you some time. You would have passed up on that half magic if that was your item, but yeah, it does save you a little bit.
So I'm looking at chat here. I like SAGTG saying we should all wait in Ganon's tower for a surprise party for whoever gets there first. And I'm thinking of all the pendant bosses that they skipped in the overworld that will be waiting in Ganon's tower. Armos, Lamo, not able to skip those guys after all. So everybody's saying, everyone was saying like how far ahead, NinTaylor was. Look at how much time it takes here to clear Turtle Rock, and still has to do Swamp. So compared to Go Mode, Mire, and Skullwoods, I'm still saying it's going to be really close.
Nope, Taylor, you got to get that other key. And you don't want to fall off before you go outside that one area.
Yeah, finding that hook shot, I think you just have like your muscles twitch, and you're like, "Oh my god, it's commode," and then you walk off the side. Half Magic really coming at a nice time at making those laser bridge skips just completely unneeded.
And down goes Argus for COB, getting the red boomerang for his trouble.
Yeah, and nice crystal block dash for Super Nin. The red boomerang definitely makes your menuing a little bit easier at this point. Wouldn't go out of my way to pick it up, but if it's going to be there anyway, might as well.
And NinTaylor making very fast work out of Trinex here.
Yeah, misses the zero cycle, which is really, really hard to get with a tempered sword. I think you can do it, but it's very, very hard. Incredibly clean fight. So that's Crystal 6 for Super Nin. It's going to immediately go to Swamp Palace, which COB has already done. COB is on his way up to just kill Mothula and then Go Mode the God Mire.
Yeah, this could just come down to execution in GT. It could come down to left side, right side choices in GT. There's a lot that can still happen here.
Either way, though, this is absolutely what you want to see. Two racers that had the same Swiss scores being paired together, having their first bracket match that ends up being at most a minute difference heading into GT. That's the type of race you want to see. So going into the Mothula fight, SuperNin is just entering Swamp now. I'm still not even going to be able to predict who's going to be ahead.
I would probably give it to SuperNinTaylor at this point, but this isn't one of those situations where we're saying, oh, well, this person, there's a lot that could happen here. This is one there really is a lot that could happen, and it really is still anybody's race.
Yeah, it does not take long to get into Misery Mire. COB's going to flute directly to 6 and just walk right in there. It's 30 seconds from now we'll be walking in the mire.
I mean, the animation to open up Mire will probably be longer than the actual Vitreous fight.
Yeah, pretty much. COB's going to be really, really happy when he finds the big key in the first chest.
Taking a hit from the bird. They're going to lose his sword beams there for that first room. That will waste a little bit of time.
Yeah, he's trying to save the bird for a bird toss and ends up losing his sword beams as a result. If COB loses this match by 2 seconds, I'm just going to say it here for the record. Don't try to meme.
On the other hand, I will say, you toss that bird every time you get a chance. You free the chicken in the cuckoo house every time you go in there.
No, never meme. If you're in a weekly race or practice, yeah, sure. But if you're in a bracket race, every second matters. We've had ties at this bracket already. In the speed racing in this tournament, any finishes that are within 3 seconds of each other are a tie. So think about how much a meme can cost you. SuperNin started off with the poke strats there for the Argus quick kill and lost the rhythm, but pulling it off very nicely as COB picks up the Misery Mire big key.
And that is crystal number 7 on SuperNinTaylor's side. It's time for us to play a game here with the chat. There are 22 locations in Gainus Tower where that big key can be. I want you all to get your guesses in, 1 through 22. The winner on this is going to be able to be added to our leaderboard. Tiru, where do you think it's going to be?
I just typed in 4 as a random number, so I'll stick with that. How about you?
All right. I'm going to say, so I don't guess by numbers. I guess by actual location, because I can never remember the numbers. I'm going to guess Stalfos room, bottom left chest.
Well, I just typed in a random number, so that'll be for the game. I'm going to use my commentator's privilege and pick an entire room. I'm changing my vote from a single number. I'm going to say something other than 4. I'm going to go with the Ice Armor's chests. And in a race this close, I want either full left or full right both to pay off.
Hey, we've already had a series that had 2 tile room chests in that series, one after another. So anything can happen here.
Did they play back to back that day?
I don't think it
Like,
was back to back. No, it was hippos and hyphenated.
I restreamed their first race. That was pretty neat to watch. That's Crystal 7 for Cobb. He's going to be heading up to the mountain now. I think it takes like a minute and a half to get up there, so very close. Got 1 hour, 25 minutes, 58 seconds or so, and so let's say 126 even when he's walking up the stairs. You can remember that.
Chest number 1, small key. Chest number 2, 5 bomb upgrade. I mean, he's going to continue on.
I think when you find a key, you continue right. That's kind of been proven to be like the best strategy if you're just going for efficiency and not trying to take any gamblers or metagame a random number generator.
So regardless what direction Cobb goes, we will be going with the numbers based on SuperNinTaylor.
Ooh, nice king dash there. I love those.
So number 3, 4, 5, and 6 not having anything.
All money. 4 rupee chests. Alright, so yeah, that's a minute and 40 seconds difference that Cobb's behind at this point.
Chest number 7, Bob's chest, not really have anything there either. Oh! Stalfos room. Bottom left chest.
Number 8. There you go. So Cobb not being able to catch up any time here is also doing the right side play.
That is 2 races in a row I've come that I've guessed the exact chest. Mark it down.
So red jam is the closest with the correct guess of 8. Yeah, you're spooky, Virtual Cat. 2 in a row. You should be playing this game.
I'm bad. Now, if only I could guess the right answers on HQ Trivia and win some money out of it.
SuperNin taking a fall there on the cannonball round, but you can dash across that with your invincibility frames if you do fall, so that's not so bad. The vanilla key on the torch. So if Nin takes even a Moldorm faller or has bad execution here, a minute and a half is definitely something you can catch up.
I mean, it could come down to Aghanim doubles or Aghanim triples.
Yeah, SuperNin just finished the gauntlet, and Cobb has speed key and is heading upstairs. Using silvers for Lambo instead of Fire Rod. Nice choice, and one cycles it. He's gotta be careful with his health. Doesn't want to take another death. SuperNin has a blue potion. I don't know if he has anything else. I think COB still has both the blue and the red. All right, who was it that died on blind? Was it COB or SuperNin?
I believe that was Cobb.
Okay, then SuperNin still has a blue and a red, and COB's. Okay, and COB didn't use his potion, so never mind. They both still have a blue and a red. Yay! Everyone has potions. this gauntlet room for COB is crazy. He keeps taking hits, and then every guy's dropping hearts for him.
I mean, he face tanks. That's what he does.
Everyone's dropping hearts. Wow, and SuperNin not having any powder for these fairies. Oh, this is a gutsy play. I don't know if he takes a death here. He has to do this all over again. Yeah, that would have been a really, really bad mistake. I'm so glad he used that potion.
So am I. This is getting a little tense.
I don't know what he was saving it for. I think it was a double. And I think there was another double. Yeah. 2-2-1. There's one more hit to go. Oh. Ah! What the heck? Virtual cat. Way to get in the spirit of the game. Some that virtual cat is having some technical difficulties here. SuperNin finishes off a very nice Aga 2 fight in the Ganon.
I apologize. I had a dog that got a little too close to my headphones and slightly disconnected them.
That's all good.
With that said, we are on to Ganon here. 133.52 going into phase 3.
Yeah, and he's had a really, really clean Ganon fight. He got the initial double spin off the Trident. This is a nice fight. Thank you, Tara, for the last-minute audio switch.
And that will be it for SuperNinTaylor, getting that last silver arrow in on Ganon.
Yeah, it's a really nice fight. Get your GGs in for SuperNinTaylor. Official time of hour 34 minutes 52 seconds. Wow, very nice fight. And we can get them both in at the same time when COB finishes up, because he's heading into Ganon right now.
Cobb just wailing away on Ganon there, going down to half a heart before breaking out this red potion.
Yeah, pretty close. Everyone's been saying that, he apparently likes to just face tank everything.
And he got him to the brackets, and it's getting him a sub 140 time here. I mean, if it works for him, I'm not going to blame him.
I'm going to guess that red mail is probably his favorite item in the game.
Either that or potions.
Yeah, potions. I mean, he took a death, and SuperNin didn't.
No Cobb had one intentional death to warp back out of Skull Woods, but I know he had the death to blind as well.
Just a couple singles here.
And we should getting a double out of this one. And that will do it for Ganon with Cobb. Everybody get your GGs in for Cobb as well, doing a very good race here. He is going to finish with, looks like it's going to be his official time. I mean, assuming he doesn't fall, which we've seen happen in this tournament. Alright, there we go. 137.22. And we'll see about getting both of our racers in here for an interview. I'm going to go ahead and pull SuperNinTaylor in.
All right. Hello, SuperNinTaylor.
Hello.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a very, very close race. You all had a good bit of divergence, probably about 45 minutes to an hour in. But before that, you all were pretty much neck and neck everywhere.
Nice. Well, that's cool. I look forward to watching it back. I wasn't sure if he made the same plays I did or not. But it sounds like it was pretty similar.
Yeah, I think you were the one who went into Eastern first. And I think you dipped Desert before he did as well. But you're both getting go mode relatively close to each other, probably around 2 or 3 minutes from each other, and going into Ganis Tower, probably about 3 minutes away from each other as well.
Yeah. Right when I saw those gloves in Eastern, I was like, huh, do I leave now? But then I was like, it gave me the bow. It could be for a reason. So I kept going, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tiru.
I don't think that there was really any play that made a significant difference. Both of you guys, committed to where the major progression was. A little bit of overworld routing, but not really that much.
Yeah, well, that's pretty cool. I saw the last little bit of it because, of course, there's like a 15-minute delay. So I watched, I think right as I got to Ganis Tower, I saw from there.
If anything, it probably came down to Cobb taking a death to blind.
He probably didn't check Zora yet, did he? So he was probably swordless?
I think he did, actually. I think he
did he?
did have a sword at that point. I think he actually got the sword before you did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he did an early Zora check, and it was he had a sword advantage for a little bit of the game. You guys got all your swords in different orders.
Yeah, because I originally wasn't even planning on going all the way to Zora. I was going to stop at Hype Cave, and I was like, you know what, I should probably check Pyramid and Catfish, because if I don't do it now, I'll probably never do it. Then I was like, you know what, I'm here, I might as well check Zora. It turned into a huge adventure with the frog.
We're now joined by Cobb. Congratulations, Cobb, as well. Didn't work out for you this race, but you still got 2 more races to come through, and even then, it was only a 3-minute difference.
Yeah, It was a blind difference.
Yeah.
It's just when it's a fight that you've practiced so much, it should be the easiest fight, and I don't know. But
I mean,
at the end of the day, I knew that SuperNinTaylor was just a phenomenal opponent, and so I'm happy with the choices I made.
Yeah, the thing about blind is once you make one little screw up, get off script, it's hard to recover from it, so it can go pretty bad.
We were just talking about the items that you got and how Cobb, you picked up that initial sword earlier, but you had the desert items earlier, but you guys really, I'm waiting for the item counts to come up here at the end. If they're off by more than one, I'll be surprised.
Did you make the desert play before you went up to Death Mountain?
I'm trying to remember now. I think I went to Death Mountain first.
I think Taylor went to Death Mountain first. Cobb did Desert first.
Yeah, if that's how it went down, then your execution was far, far better than mine, because I only had to go to Death Mountain once before Ganon's Tower.
Oh, nice.
Well, the first big divergence was SuperNin went up to Death Mountain and Cobb went into Pod, and that got you Flute first. But having Ether let SuperNin do Mire while he was in the area. That said, though, it was a God mode Mire, so it didn't really make any difference. I can't think of anything in your routing that actually gave either of you an advantage.
Yeah, luckily the items weren't too deep in Mire, so I didn't have to search too hard. I didn't have to do the vanilla big key chest, thankfully. God Mire would have been nice, I guess.
Yeah, it's just, and I hate Ganon's Tower because, or at least in a race, because the entire time, all I'm thinking, especially during the gauntlet, is I'm gonna get sniped, which is pretty much what happened.
I was doing the same thing. I kept on right as as Ganon's Tower was opening, I kept on looking at the speed racing TV thing to see if you were dunning or clicking done or whatever.
Did you go right?
I did, yeah. I went right.
Yeah, I did the same.
Just looking at the stats here, I haven't seen Cobb's yet, but SuperNinTaylor's. If anybody watching this wants a underrated way to learn how to shave some minutes off their time, SuperNinTaylor had only 3 minutes and 14 seconds of menu time. That is insane.
It's actually surprising because my menuing felt pretty bad this run. Usually I can do better. That's okay, I guess. Because usually I look at my tracker and I use that to... I use a tracker that's exactly the same as my in-game menu, so I try to plan, what I'm going to do before I open my menu, but I didn't really do that at all this run. I have a new setup, so I'm just getting used to it.
Oh, that's really clever. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you set off by 1 for the collection rate. You're pretty close.
What's your number?
It's off by 4. I had 138. But my menu time's probably going to be a little high because I did have to pause at one point because my stream crashed. But I wasn't upset so much with my menuing, just I just didn't have the execution that I wanted, and it's easier to lose to a great opponent because of routing choices. You just made the wrong routing choices than to not play your best. And but at the end of the day, his execution was obviously far better than mine.
Well, thankfully, this is a best of 3, and you all will be racing again tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's going to be another good match as well. I'm really excited to watch that one after this one.
I hope the seed gives us, or the, what do you call it? generator or whatever gives us a decent seed to race.
Yeah, I wish you guys luck in your next race, Cobb. I'd love to see you pull that out because I would love to see you guys do a third race. This was very fun to watch. Your execution was pretty similar. Your routes were pretty similar, so it was nice to see a pretty close match heading up into Gannon's Tower. So I'll thank both of you guys for putting on a good show. You guys have any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, just thanks for commentating. Thanks for everyone who's hanging out, watching, and GG, COB. I'm actually like, even if I was to lose, the fact I made brackets, that was my main goal just coming into this, because this is my second big tournament. First one I didn't quite make it. I would think it was like 4-3 or something. I went to make it into that like huge tiebreaker where only a few people got in. So I missed out on brackets last time, so I got it this time. So I consider that an improvement. But whatever happens, I'll be happy. But I hope to move forward as long as I can.
Yeah, I'm the same way. My goal coming in was to win 4 matches, and so I surpassed that. So whatever happens, I have no regrets.
Well, GG's again to both of you guys, and we thank you for the show. There's links in the Twitch chat for following both COB and SuperNinTaylor. Looking at the schedule right now, we have a race starting in a few minutes on Speed Gaming 5 between Sine and Pink Kitty Rose. This is their third match, so this will be the deciding factor of which one of those gets to continue. A half hour later on the ALTTPR Randomizer 1 channel is Flip versus Jay Meisher. Jay Meisher currently has a lead 1-0. And so that's all that we have within the next half hour, so I encourage you guys to go check that out. Also, we have links in chat for our tracker, Raspberry Floof. Thank you very much for keeping us honest throughout this route. Very much appreciated. And thanks to that staff of Speed Gaming for getting this restream on and helping us with the technical difficulties we had in the beginning. That's it for me, Tiro. I was glad to be joined today by Virtua Cat. Last words go to you, sir.
If you're interested in getting into Randomizer, there's a great website you can go to, vt.alttp.org, or alttp.org, or .run, sorry. And there's a great Discord full of really great, kind people who are always willing to help out. Come on, play a few games with us, play a few of the 10 p.m. races, and have some fun. Have a good night.